Hi, Patrik.
Hi, Paramita. Thanks for the invitation. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for accepting the invite. And like we were just discussing, this is the first time that I'm speaking to you because List has grown so much.
Yeah.
So many new faces now.
Yeah.
And even if we are colleagues I joined List. It's been almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to you before, and you have been here. You are one of the people. When we were discussing the people to invite for this special series, your name popped up because you have been here since the beginning.
Yeah. And so even before in the predecessor institute, so I know List from the very beginning. That's true. Yeah.
Where were you before? You were
one from Lippmann, actually, from the Centre de Recherche Publique à Lippmann. So one of the two. Yeah.
One of the two research centers that merged in 2015.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's your story, Patrik?
What?
So you have been a project manager since the beginning, or were you into research before? How did it all start?
Well, my professional career in Luxembourg started 2001 at the, as said, Centre de Recherche Publique à Lippmann. And I started as a project manager there after having worked for nearly 7 years in industry. So I'm one of the guys that have done the switch back from industry to applied research. And that's more or less also my interest of research here, applied research. That was always my interest.
What is applied research?
Yeah, applied research is the research that really looks at how can we have an impact. I'm coming from industry. That was my first career orientation, and my interest was always to bring our research here into a concrete application. In industry, it's making money of it. To be simple, yeah, it's as simple as that in industry. But we have also impact on policy here in Luxembourg and in Europe. Societal impact. All this is very important, and I wouldn't look down, not at all, on people doing fundamental research, more upfront research, because without that we couldn't do applied research neither. But my personal interest was always this: can people that I work for, do our partners that I work with, do they profit from what we're actually doing? And I think that should be in the genes of an applied research institute.
And do you have a particular domain that interests you?
Yeah, my training background. I'm a medical computer scientist. I'm coming from computer science, and you see in this notion of medical computer science, there's already this applied aspect in. That's computer science for the life sciences for medicine. And when I came here, this changed totally first, because in industry I did some other things. I started in life sciences, but then I turned more to administrative tasks in industry, and then here we started with e-government. That was my first domain here in Luxembourg, and then when List started, it became really interesting for me, because I went back to life sciences, not life sciences, but more natural sciences, with our integration at the time in our environmental department. So for 8 years or so, I was part, or 7 years I think, I was part of the environmental department of Lucien Hoffmann. And there we did this applied research for our environmental colleagues with computer science methods.
It's very interesting. Probably we'll come back to that.
Mm-hmm.
But you spoke that, when List started, it became more interesting for you.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time when the merger happened?
Yeah, I remember even where I were when it was announced. I was in Portugal with a colleague of mine on a business trip, and then he received a message on his phone, and then said, "Well, we will do this merger with the CRP or Tudor." And I remember that we didn't find that really astonishing. For us, it was more a logical step. Luxembourg is not the biggest country in Europe, to tell it like that, and having two institutes that are doing very similar things was kind of strange. It was more a logical step for the society, and a step that was very much welcome, actually, for many people. Although it didn't come without hassle, without problems, of course, issues, but in general, it was a good decision. So my feeling was rather positive about that.
Excellent. And over these last 10 years, over this past decade, how has your role evolved? Have you seen your role change over the time, or you've always been doing what you started as in 2015?
No, my role has evolved in the last 3-4 years. I've changed again orientation. At the beginning, I said we have done projects in the environmental department. I'm still on some projects with these guys, which is very interesting also for my current work. Now I'm working more in, let's call that a bit meta science. I'm trying to support my colleagues with research data management.
Right.
And this, well, it's kind of a logical step too. It's again oriented on application. This time the clients, the partners I have are my proper colleagues, and I try to help them to come to manage better their data, to manage better their digital output actually. So that's has been my focus in the since the beginning of COVID actually, and that's my probably last career orientation, because my career is now ending in the next couple of years.
Couple of years?
Yeah. I mean, legally I would be able to retire next year, but I don't think I will do that. But I'm 58 years this year, 59. So
no.
Yeah. So
okay.
That's for sure the last career orientation I will follow. Yeah.
How has it been? Because you are one of the people that have, stayed with LIST and started in Lippmann, and
Yeah.
How has it been? How has your career been to you? Because you yourself are saying that it's coming to an end shortly.
Yeah. You mean here at
probably
LIST?
It's a philosophical sort of a question. Both actually, here in LIST and in general.
In general, yeah. One thing people should know, and many people don't know, that when I started my career in the mid-90s, computer scientists weren't that asked like they are today. It was. I remember that one of the employees of my first employer said, "Well, you should be happy to have a job, as a computer scientist."
Who knew then?
Yeah. It's really a long time ago, and then. So that was also the reason why I had to leave life sciences at the time. It was not easy to find a job for me, but I was lucky I got one, and then I was taken over by a large IT supplier at the time. And then I've seen that, working just in industry is maybe not that good for me, and we were in contact with the university in Germany for doing our proper projects. We've built web information systems. And then also for personal reasons, I had to look for another job. I was away from my family with kids and so on, situations that many of our colleagues know here. And so I've seen a job here in Luxembourg and at a research institute. And I found that very interesting because I was working for a large international company with a lot of international colleagues. And there was one aspect that until today is one of the biggest advantages I see, working with so many talented people from so many backgrounds.
Yes.
And so I tried that. Luxembourg is a very international place. I changed a bit from industry to applied research, and I've never regretted this. It's probably my thing to do that. And then working for the former Lippmann was kind of, these were small institutes. And with LIST, one must say that professionalization began. LIST is.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that Lippmann wasn't that professional, but it was a small one, very oriented on Luxembourgish partners and so on. LIST became quite, as of the beginning, a very professional organization. I mean, you can always improve things. Also at LIST, we are not paradise here, but. The orientation, the people that had the responsibility as of beginning tried to professionalize, to be more international, even more European project and so on. And that changed a lot, apart from the language, by the way. We were a very French-speaking institute before, and now we are, of course, more English-speaking. Yeah.
You are probably one of the best people to answer this question, because you are working in applied research and really concerned with the impact. So taking a bird's eye view, since LIST started its existence until now, what do you think has been its biggest impact in the scientific community and in the society?
Well, first of all, very nice of you to say that I'm probably one of the best to say that, but probably I'm not, because I don't know if there's probably on management level people have an overview of what is actually going on. At least one of the things that are typical for such a huge institute, I can't assess, can't judge what our colleagues from material science do. I lack the knowledge, and science in general has become very specialized. So I couldn't assess the impact of many of our colleagues. But I'm rather sure they have, of course, when you look at our just key business figures, the results we have, publications, patents, and so on. Then LIST has for sure a huge impact, and we get a lot of large European projects. We attract very bright people that come here. So I know, and I'm absolutely convinced that this has a large impact. What I know better, because I've been working there for a long time, is the impact that our colleagues from environment have. I know that Leslie was here talking about her Corona STEP project, and that was one thing I could even tell my family, and was very proud of being a part of such a quick reaction on the Corona crisis, for example.
Yes.
And Leslie wasn't the only colleague that with her wastewater monitoring had a very quick and very useful societal impact there. There were also the colleagues from at the time the IT department that I was already part of, and others. So this was for me something I found very interesting, and I was even proud of as being, although I wasn't employed myself, but as being part of the organization, I thought, well, that's good to have for the country, to have these experts that can react on such crises. We have the same. I've been working a lot with my colleagues from remote sensing, environment group of Patrik Hitzelberger, Kanishka Malek, Martin Schleff, and others that monitor the impact of climate change, for example, with satellite images and so on. And that's something I understand better than material science, by the way. They're closer to my expertise. And this is also something that has an immediate impact on how we look at the situation here in Luxembourg. They're doing flood monitoring, for example.
Yeah.
So these things have a tremendous impact and are very important to have here in Luxembourg. Yeah.
You have been speaking about your colleagues. Yeah. My next, I wanted to ask you, how has it been working with so many different scientists, at so many different levels and expertise, and how has the collaboration been over the years?
First thing one must know is that when LIST started, one could have expected to have problems between these two groups. We are all human beings. We have these group egoisms and so on. And science is not any different from other domains there, But what really surprised me at the time was there was no real problems between ex-Tudor and ex-Lippmann. And as of the beginning, people understood that we should be one organization.
Yeah.
Of course, in terms of, combining different systems, different procedures and so on, that was a challenge. Didn't always work out well at the beginning. It took some time. But in terms of people, because you're asking about people and my colleagues, I, at least myself, I did never encounter any issues with ex-colleagues from Tudor or vice versa. And well, you are from this group and I am from this group. And as of the beginning, this worked out very well. So that was the first thing when we're talking about LIST I found very positive. And as I've said before, from a personal point of view, I'm blessed, in terms of professional career, to have met, now at the end of my career, to have met so many bright people, much brighter than I am, in terms of academic qualification, of general knowledge and whatever, I've learned a lot about different cultural backgrounds, different religious background, national backgrounds, scientific backgrounds, and I will miss that. That's for sure. Yeah.
And how do you see LIST evolving in the next 10 years, let's say?
That's a tough question. It will happen without me.
You never know. You might come back.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But I mean, it's not a problem for it. It's not a problem for Liz that I won't be there, but it's one for me. But this. I'm not sure. The challenges are huge. We are living in a quick moving, changing societies from every aspect. We have these climate change issues. We had also political issues. What I'm seeing now, and that's really something I regret personally, there's a lot of money going into defense. How does this react on that? I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. I'm just seeing that there's orientation is changing, and it will be a challenge for this to find its place in this changing, ever-changing environment, I've seen that many colleagues don't like that. Others say, well, it's necessary, and that's a big challenge for LIST in the future. How will LIST evolve facing that? Honestly, I don't know. But I'm confident that the talent of these people that work here will be the best prerequisite to face it and to develop in a good direction.
I said that I'll come back to your expertise. So because it's very interesting when what you said about computer science being utilized in life science, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So can you tell me like just a couple of briefly, what is your expertise in particular? Has been your expertise?
Yeah, life science is my personal background. Then I've applied that more in environmental sciences with our at the time environmental colleagues there, which is kind of similar, in terms of methods and research questions. My expertise is, and that's quite interesting, I think. My colleagues with this natural science background are fantastic in developing algorithms, new methods.
Algorithms for what? Sorry, excuse me. Algorithms for what?
Algorithms, for example, let's take the concrete example of the colleagues from our remote sensing group. That use any kind of satellite images or other instruments, also drones and so on, to analyze radar or optical images. These guys are really very, very bright and develop interesting and very powerful algorithms to analyze that. Can I detect whatever plant problems by looking from 200, 400 kilometers above and so on. They have, on the other side, challenges in terms of scalability of these approaches. There is an ever-growing amount of data there, and what computer science brings in is how can we deal with not only 2 images but 2,000 per minute, per day or whatever. How can we scale up this? How can we profit and manage these large amounts of data? There computer science comes in, and I was implied in projects with colleagues there where we help them with implementing their algorithms on large amount of data in cloud infrastructures. They're used to do that on their computers, and then it's fine for writing a paper, but applying it on the Copernicus network, for example. The Copernicus is an ESA-driven, European Union-driven network of satellites there that take images every minute. So applying that on these large amounts of data, that's something where computer science helps. Yeah. And I could help a bit with many of my colleagues. Johan Dietrich, I can't forget him. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to end, I am ending these episodes with 3 questions.
Okay.
3 sort of rapid fire or lightning round questions. The first question is, if I ask you, what is your favorite LIST innovation? If you had to pick one.
I just can repeat what I've said. It's this quick reaction on Corona.
Yeah.
That was something I've admired.
Yeah, so the Corona step. All right. One colleague who has influenced you or the most, or that you have learned from the most?
Beg your pardon, Parameter, but I can't do that. There are so many, and if I pick one, that would be unfair to the others. If I can cite one currently, that would be Kara, my colleague that works with me on this research data management topic, but there are many others.
Absolutely. And is there a book or a podcast that inspires your work?
I read a lot, and what I recommend from a scientific point of view, also related to my current work, is you should read everything from John Ioannidis regarding meta-science. It's very important for researchers, also young researchers. And from a personal point of view, I would recommend read Morgan Housel and his books. That's very inspiring.
Thank you so much, Patrik. It has been lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Not often that you get to meet people that are so positive. So it has been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Paramita.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.